Have you ever had a crush on someone while being in a happy and committed relationship? It's natural to have crushes. People don't automatically become unattractive once you're in a relationship. I'm in a happy and very committed relationship, yet I find people attractive. I would never in a million years in a relationship act upon that crush or even message other people for non-platonic reasons though. I'm faithful to my partner and love him more than anything. Therefore I never go beyond saying wow they're really cute. It's not about having crushes, it's about acting upon those crushes when in a closed relationship that makes someone a bad person. I think when people talk about crushes they are usually not referring to mere physical/sexual attractions though. Having a crush usually means romantic feelings, like butterflies and these kind of things. It's basically a mild form of falling in love. Just for context, well butterflies would be a low form of falling in love, but I get yeah. But is it really a crush or just finding someone attractive? Well you get that little high when they smile, and you smile at the same time. It's a crush. So you have to really know that person and interact with them. Not particularly, but you should at least see them on more than a monthly basis to have a crush. Liking their photos on Facebook or seeing them once in a concert without saying hello isn't really a crush. Then what I have is an obsession. Yes. In fact, it happened somewhat recently, and I still kind of have these feelings. I can't seem to shake them off. The whole thing isn't exactly easy, because I know I won't ever be able to do anything with that woman anyway, and I can't even talk about it with my wife, because the one time I tried, she got pissed. I have had them in previous relationships. Not in my marriage. It's like a switch has been flicked off. I can appreciate when someone's attractive, but not be crushing on them. Unfortunately yes. Try not to judge yourself for it, you're only human. Of course. Crushes happen. It's only bad if you act on it by doing or saying something over the line. I learned when I was younger that the easiest way to avoid those things are just to never put yourself in the position to do something stupid. Don't be that person that hangs out alone with that crush, but then justifies by saying we are just friends or it's not like we did anything. Because sure maybe you're just friends or you didn't do anything, but being in that position increases the chances of something happening by like 1000%, and at that point you're basically asking for it. Yes, it's not a big deal. I talk to my wife about, I never cross our established boundaries, so it's never an issue. Is it normal to get the feeling of having comically large, Mickey Mouse style hands when falling asleep? I regularly get this feeling on the verge of falling asleep, like if I had giant bubbly hands, and I have to consciously visualize the position on my hands relative to the rest of my body or actively move them to make the feeling stop. It's not unpleasant but rather funny. Yes, it is called Alice in Wonderland syndrome. It is associated with neurological disorders, but also can happen as one is falling asleep. That is fascinating. I get this once in a while too. I get that too. Sometimes both my hands and my head feel like I'm a wobblehead toy, like they are huge in comparison to the rest of my body. But I don't think it has anything to do with blood flow. This has never happened to me. Interesting. Is it normal that, even though you have close friends that would support you if you needed it, you feel like you can't talk to anyone when something bad is happening to you? And you just spend your time suffering in isolation because you don't think any of them will help you, and then you feel worse because you feel so alone. Absolutely, and sometimes the worst part is simply that the solution is right there, but at the same time it's so impossible. If you want to talk to a stranger, let me know. Thank you. Yeah, I have a different excuse for why I can't tell any of them. Like they are busy / they wouldn't get it / they wouldn't care / they would lecture me / I'm an annoying burden. It's not that bad, I can deal with it myself. I can always tell my therapist, but it's not like I can call her up and ask her to come over. So I have to wait for the day of the week I can see her. And I probably am only okay telling her because she is paid to be there. I feel like that all time. I'm the type of person that people gravitate towards for advice or venting, yet I can never talk to people or really express what I feel. Not sure why. Sometimes I think they will judge or view me as weak. Sounds dumb, but it almost does seems easier for me to talk to a stranger. Yes, this describes me exactly. I'm constantly on Reddit if you just want to chat or vent. For real, no judgment or downplaying your feelings. Why is everyone trying to kill the Ice Age baby? I get that it's ugly, but why would we actively choose this period of time just to take a shit on the Ice Age baby? Children/teens/younger people generally find random and otherwise just not very sensical, but shock factor inducing things more amusing than they will when they get older. Or just that kind of young-hearted, if you call it that, sense of humor for those not in the younger age groups. Because PewDiePie posted something. I dunno, not my favorite meme, but whatever. It started before that, it's just a big meme. I agree with the comments here, but I also want to point out, and this is kind of a stretch, that this could also be a way of hating on baby things in general. For example, Baby Yoda and Baby Peanut. I dunno, but I need my weekly regimen of baby hating. It's just a meme. What's the best way to tell your parents that you are bi? I'm bisexual and in love with another guy, but my parents don't know. I'm just too afraid to ask it because I don't know how I should tell them, and I don't want them to be sad or disappointed. Speaking as a mom, I already knew about my kids before they spoke to me, and speaking as a child, my mom already knew. Well, you should first try and figure out if they are against the LGBT+ community. If they are, then make sure you're in a safe environment before you do it. If you decide to, then tell them that you're bisexual and that it won't change your relationship with them at all. One other thing, sometimes you may not get the reaction you want, and that doesn't necessarily mean they don't support you. If they don't initially support you, then give it some time so they can think on it and get comfortable with this information. Thanks. This advice is really helpful and I will surely follow it. I'm bisexual and I came out to my mom when I was in 5th grade. I've been bi since the first time I ever felt attracted to someone. It has never changed. If you think your family will accept it, just tell them. It'll be nerve-wracking no matter what. You don't need to have a family meeting. It's okay to say, hey, mom, I'm bisexual and I have been for a long time. I don't know, and I wanted to tell you. I wouldn't mention the guy unless someone asks, at least not in the same conversation. Regardless of sexual orientation, telling parents you're dating or like someone is a special case. If your family wouldn't react positively, they will eventually have to come to terms with it. If you would be in danger, you shouldn't tell them for your own safety and comfort in your home. It'll be okay, don't worry. Thank you for all of your advice. I'm sure it will come in handy. Why do people become Nazis? Ideally, I'd like to hear from people who used to be Nazis. But if you've got some insight, based on your experience with friends or family, or if you've studied a lot of WW2 history, etc., I'd like to hear from you too. What do you mean by become Nazis? Do you mean become racist? White supremacist? Participate in white supremacist movements? There is no such thing as a Nazi anymore, although there are neo-Nazis and other racist/supremacist groups that exist. What exactly are you trying to figure out? Fair enough. Apologies, where I come from, all those terms get used interchangeably. Let's go with neo-Nazis and/or white supremacists. So there are actually a lot of really good articles and books out there about how neo-Nazis and white supremacists are able to recruit young white men who feel attacked or left out. There are a couple of books I'd recommend if you're actually interested in the topic, but primarily Healing from Hate, in which a former white supremacist talks a lot about how he was recruited and how the groups go in search of certain type of white male online to recruit. It's very often people who are living in poverty or close to it, and who feel that they deserve more than they have. From an interview with the author, Michael Kimmel, these guys believe something has been taken from them that they were entitled to, that they deserved, and it was given to people who don't deserve it, like immigrants and gay people and women. Joining up is a way to get it back, to restore your masculinity. The white nationalist organizations are fairly explicit in this. Join us and you feel like a real man. Join your brothers, your comrades. We have a sacred mission to preserve the white race. All this stuff is designed to say, I'm retrieving what's rightfully mine. The feeling of being emasculated comes from a feeling of entitlement. Entitlement is what fuels the anger and desire to restore what's rightfully ours. And almost every one of the guys I talked to was downwardly mobile lower middle class. They made a bargain. The bargain of the 1950s. I will work hard. I will pay my taxes. I will be a good citizen. And in return for that, I the man, the breadwinner, I alone should be able to support my family and buy a house. There are economic forces that are depriving these guys of the bargain that their fathers and grandfathers made. Globalization and neoliberal economics have meant that Walmart has moved in, the mom and pop place has closed. All those heavy manufacturing jobs have disappeared no matter what President Trump promises. It's a done deal. Now at the same moment that these economic changes are happening, you have all these other groups shouting out for their rights, and these guys feel like, well, wait, what about us? Here's another article about the alt-right, which incorporates much of the neo-Nazi or white supremacist movement. And this one from someone who talks about why the white supremacist movement appealed to him. I think a lot of the time it's a family thing. My dad calls himself a Nazi and hates insert race, so I do too. If that makes sense. Lots of people in the KKK are grandpa, father, son, grandson, etc. The ideals are taught by the parents to the unknowing kids and they stay where they were raised, so they never end up unlearning it. That's just my guess. Actually, you'd be surprised that a lot of the young white men involved in the white supremacy groups come from progressive families. Honestly, I'm not surprised at all. It's just basic youth counterculture. We like to associate counterculture with progressivism, but when progressive is the new norm, who will be the counterculture to the mainstream? The far right, of course. It's almost the 60s in reverse at this point. Thank you for watching. I wish you an awesome day. And don't forget, hating Nazis good, hating babies bad.